Robinson Show. We are back with Mike Seibert.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you, Mike? How are you living in the corona world?
You know what? I'm doing all right. I'm living that essential worker lifestyle.
So are we.
It's weird. My life really hasn't changed as much as a lot of other folks because I'm still going to work every day.
I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for the money coming in, but at the same time, I'd like some PlayStation time.
Right. No shit. I mean, like, there's so many folks talking about like the cool creative stuff they're doing. It's like, oh man, I'm taking up painting.
I'm welding.
Or man, I just launched three new podcasts, and it's like, I wish I had some extra time to be creative, but I don't know about you all guys, but I'm working harder and doing more.
Yes.
So like when I get home at night, I'm just wiped.
Yes, dude. I can't tell you how many times I'm just dragging my ass.
Yeah, I don't know what essential business you're in, but Rob and I are both in the retail business, and that's been rough because...
And rough, like you said, like working harder because a lot of our guys are on leaves right now.
Yeah, there's
so
a lot of people
A lot of
on
people have
leave.
taken the leaves, so yeah, we're working harder, but also at the same time... the increases come in for demand, for products and all. So yeah, we're working. Yeah. We're working like I feel like it's Black Friday every day.
Every day, yep,
every
day.
Exactly.
Yes.
And well, as somebody that participates in essential retail, I just went to the hardware store today and the grocery store this afternoon. Thank you guys for keeping us. Kind of giving us that sense of normalcy. Really appreciate it.
I appreciate that, and I've never been one to I don't need appreciation to do the job I do, but it is nice to hear it. It's amazing to hear it right in this time, and just the fact that you see some people showing the horrible side of humanity. You think it would bring out the best in people, but sometimes it's not. Most of the time it's not.
I'm in management in retail, so I see both sides. Like, I got screamed at by a lady for 20 minutes yesterday because one of my associates got too close to her.
But yeah, that's what I've said. Some people are jumping away like you have full blown AIDS. Some people are getting too close to you. So let's find a medium, people. Let's just find the 6 inches or 6 feet or whatever we need.
Exactly. And Slim, I totally feel you because I used to do the management thing as well. So you got to be getting it from both sides. It's I'm sure your folks are getting really tired, really crusty, and just kind of those nerves are fraying, and everybody's on edge. But yeah, I mean, and you're getting it from the fucking civilians also.
Yep,
that's got to be a pain in the ass.
Yeah, exactly. But Mike Seibert, you are an essential podcaster as well, which I feel like as podcasters, as content providers, I feel like we owe the world right now because there's so many things that are just on halt, like sports. Even The Walking Dead, they couldn't do their finale. So I feel like we do owe the world.
See, I would think with Walking Dead, they could just roll cameras right now, because it's the streets are empty.
Yeah,
I remember when that show started, they had to get all these permits and clear the roads and all that stuff. But film that shit now.
Yeah. Now you're good to go. You don't even need it. Yeah, no, I need that season finale, Mike. It's killing me. It's killing me.
This pandemic has changed my perspective on The Walking Dead too, because nobody in The Walking Dead was trying to get hand sanitizer or mask, and they should have been, because they didn't know what the fuck that virus was, right? They should have all been wearing masks or trying to hoard masks.
I feel like the whole first season should have been this.
This should have been season 1 of The Walking Dead.
Dude, none of us got the apocalypse we thought we were going to get.
No, I wanted wolves. I wanted wolves.
It was going to be, like Ezekiel and his tiger and Jesus and his tiger. Turns out it's fucking Tiger King.
Yeah.
Joe Exotic.
Yes. We got
and we're fighting over toilet paper.
We did get Joe Exotic in the middle of the apocalypse.
Yeah, we did. We're going to be like one day to our grandkids, we couldn't wipe. We couldn't wipe. it was hard to get toilet paper. Like what?
Exactly. Look, I'm just saying this isn't the apocalypse we signed up for.
No.
You know, this is kind of like Road Warrior in reverse. Like, you know, that was the thing. Like, you know, gas was so hard to come by.
Yeah.
You know, anybody can go out and get fucking gasoline now. You know, I mean, it's like negative 40 cents a gallon. It's ridiculous.
Yes. Oh, now they're paying us to gas our cars.
The movies taught us.
No. Alcohol's still available. Cigarettes are still available. Yeah, no.
There isn't any cool car chases
No.
or
I don't have spikes on my car. I don't have blades in my wheels. I got none of that cool shit.
Yeah. Nobody with cool robot arms or people running around with assless chaps and mohawks. None of that stuff.
I'm sure somewhere in some obscure part.
There's some trailer park that's going on.
Trailer park. One guy has all the toilet paper in the trailer park, and he's
and everyone else is fighting over it.
Right.
Oh, man. Mike, I've never known, because when we first connected, I think you were sort of like a pop culture podcast. Like, with a little, like, you know, the music mixed in. Like, you always did the Krackle Fest, which you're still doing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, when I think Krackle Fest is going to go this August, provided that Emerald City Comic Con still happens here in Seattle.
Yeah.
But, you know, we'll see, because I don't know about you guys, but even if, like, things start to lift and ease up and, you know, a lot of our friends can get back to work, I don't know if I'm excited to get in a building with 100,000 other people.
The same, and I wouldn't trust it.
I don't know if I'm okay with that.
Yeah, no, I'm still on that level. I'm still on, where I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be distancing and all that.
Yeah. But yeah, so to kind of wind the clocks back a little bit, you know, for because you know every show is somebody's first show. This is my third time being on the show, and thank you guys so much for inviting me back those few times. I really appreciate it. You guys are a lot of fun. But basically, where I started was I was on the radio, doing the college radio thing on KGRG in Auburn, Washington, and so we were playing today's rock. I was playing the nerd music. And just kind of being part of that scene. And basically, when my time at that station ended, basically I graduated from community college and done got a real job. I continued my show with a podcast.
Yes.
And so now Mike Seibert Radio has kind of developed and evolved a few different times where I talk a little pop culture. I talk just kind of about what's going on in my life. I've been kind of talking a lot of Corona and Limes lately. It's just kind of like a journaling kind of podcast adventure thing. But the main thing that I love about my show is that I give a platform for independent artists to promote their stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I always like to say it's like I want to help my friends promote their thing. And I love making new friends. So, you know, kind of one of my mantras is like, you know, tell me your story, tell me about your thing. Yes. So, you know, recently I've had comic book creators coming on to tell me about their new projects. I've had musicians on. And yeah, it's just a ton of fun. But yeah, like you guys, you know, I kind of do just kind of like an open format podcast and just kind of like, you know, whatever comes across my desk that week, that's kind of what I run with.
I love that.
And lately, over the last couple of years, it seems to be very Transformers related.
I never knew you were
the Transformers.
I never knew you were such a Transformers fan. Because, dude, that's the best. That's the best. I don't know if I could call it a mistake or a blessing, but I got my kids into Transformers, and dude. Yeah, some of them know more. My oldest son, he knows more than I do about some of the things. Like, I'm like, wow, like you are into it, dude. But
it's interesting because oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's so funny how like some of them, like my middle son, he leans more G1, where my oldest son leans more Bay. Like it's crazy. Like and my youngest, he likes what's the new one? I can't think of what that one's called.
On TV, you got the Cyberverse.
Yes, the Cyberverse. Yeah, my youngest is more into the Cyberverse. Like it's just cool to see what the different whatever, my different sons have taken to too. Like, it's cool.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing about Transformers is that since the brand has been around for over 35 years and has gone through so many different iterations, there's so many different entry points. So, like, it's like you, me, and a lot of our friends, we got in 1984 G1, and, we're all about that shit. But, like, everybody that's come behind us, including your kids, there's always been a new entry point.
Or Slim across from me is Beast Wars.
Yeah, Beast Wars was my introduction to Transformers.
And, I know. It's not our favorite, but that's what he came into it. And, like, for him, that is the pivotal point. Like, I do think that's awesome.
Yeah, like, I remember collecting all the Beast Wars, and that's, like, the first time I had heard about Transformers. And then eventually my stepfather, who was a big Transformer fan, had showed me the movie from the 80s, I guess, with Galvatron, and I remember liking that, yeah.
Mike just got the soundtrack. Right, Mike, you just got the vinyl soundtrack, did you not?
I sure did. It hasn't showed up yet, but yeah, I forget the name of the record company, but they just did a pressing of the soundtrack album on vinyl, and I got like this super limited collector set where it's like they do test pressings. The set was only limited to 25 editions.
Wow.
So it's like I got like the test press vinyl and then like 3 other variants of it in a few different colors. Like, I didn't realize I was a vinyl collector, but that soundtrack for that movie means so much to me.
Yeah.
That it's like, no, I gotta get this. And honestly, I was surprised I got it because like it went on sale and it was sold out within minutes. I was glad to get on board with it. Was
even every time they do a reissue of the original movie on DVD, or I mean, I've had it on so many different releases. I've had it on VHS. I've had so many versions of it. Like, but I'll buy it every time. And it's so good.
I'm with you, brother. That is, my Transformers fandom aside, that 1986 Transformers the movie is my favorite movie. Bar none. Yeah. Like, you put me on a desert island, that's the movie I'm taking. All 86 minutes of it.
Yeah.
I unironically love it because, I mean, it's like, we were talking about the music. It's fucking prog rock and hair metal and synthesizer and all that shit.
And Weird Al.
And the animation was so good.
And I'll cry every time Optimus dies. I don't care. I'm not too proud to admit that. Yes, every time.
Well, and not to make it too serious here, but like that for me as a kid, I saw it when I was 7 years old in the movie theater, and to me that was kind of like one of my first experiences with not just death, but like heroic death. Like, this guy is sacrificing his life to save his friend.
Yes,
and
the
nobility of it, the nobility of Optimus Prime, facing down his enemy Megatron, and that's some powerful stuff when you're a kid.
Yeah, fuck.
So I'm curious. I'm going to pull the curtain back a little bit here, but Rob obviously writes and puts together this show every week called Too Many Rapes, and you played a character in that called Truckimus Prime, which you did amazingly. But like the conversation you guys are having right now, it sounds like Rob just found out now that you're like this huge Transformer fan. When you originally casted Mike as Truckimus Prime,
did you know?
Okay.
I knew at that point, but I want to ask you though, Mike, have you ever thought of doing like a fan fiction or a fan made Optimus Prime? Because you nailed the voice, dude.
Well, thank you. That's incredibly flattering. I know there's like I've even become acquainted with some of the voice actors that have done Optimus Prime before, and to be compared to that is incredibly flattering. But yeah, I mean, since we've got the curtain pulled back, man, that does take a lot of practice because I'm like, yes. Beast Wars sucked, stupid. I had to do like a half dozen different takes on that. But it's a ton of fun to do. I really like it.
I wanted to ask that too. Like we know Truckimus doesn't appreciate Beast Wars, but does Mike Seibert appreciate Beast Wars?
You know what? This might be a scorching hot take for some of my friends and fans that might be tuning into the live stream, but, Beast Wars was never my jam, unfortunately, because it came in right about the time, when you're a kid and kind of like a preteen, there's stuff that's your jam and that's your shit.
Yeah.
And that was Transformers for me. In high school, I discovered that I liked girls and drinking maybe just a little better, and kind of forsaken the Transformers a little bit.
Yeah.
And that was right about the time Beast Wars came along. And to this day, the thing that was like the deal breaker for me is like they kept recycling a lot of the old names. Like there's a character named Dinobot, for example, and I'm like, that's not a fucking Dinobot. That doesn't look like Grimlock. Get the fuck out of here with this stuff.
Fuck that shit. And I feel like for me, like as you going with that, I feel like Armada brought Transformers back. Like Armada was what brought it back for me. Like Beast Wars was what you ignored. It was what you just didn't even acknowledge.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of like the first attempt to kind of bring folks like us back into the fold. It's like, hey, you got yourself an Optimus Prime again.
Yes.
He's a truck. He's not a monkey. That kind of thing. Trying to placate those.
There was no cheetah
fans,
in Prime. I don't know.
But also,
there was no cheetah. Like, come on.
No cheetah. But but Transformers, what was it? Prime. If you saw, like, I feel like that was great. Yeah. But then all of a sudden they went Beast Wars with it. They did Beast Machines.
Oh, did they really? They did Beast Machines. That's amazing.
It's like why? And then it sucked.
I feel like the Beast Wars is still a part of like Transformer lore, where there's always going to be at some point where someone's going to be like, "Oh, let's do Beast Wars again."
Well, isn't Bay trying to bring that back, Mike?
Well, I don't know if they're going to bring it back fully, but like we were talking about Cyberverse earlier. Cheetor is a character in Cyberverse.
Oh, it's awesome.
Along with Hot Rod and Bumblebee. Yeah, it's pretty rad.
Is Cyberverse like all the Transformers kind of like generations combined? Is that what it is?
It seems like it is.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of that where, like, I feel like Cyberverse is kind of like the Disney Star Wars era, where they kind of like pick and choose from what they like. They're like, we're going to grab a little bit of G1. We're going to grab a little bit of Beast Wars. Yeah. We're going to grab a little bit of animated, and we're going to throw this all together, and it all works. It's a show that's for kids, but it's a lot of fun. And for me, at least, for being a crusty old G1er, it's probably the best cartoon I've seen since G1. It really is a lot of fun.
Oh, cool, because I've not checked out the cartoon. I did, the last one I watched was Prime, and I loved it. I loved it until they got to Beast Machines. I thought that was it felt like more of a blend between Bay and G1 to me. Like, it kind of was that.
Yeah, no, and I think you're spot on. And I used to, I mean, the Michael Bay films are not my favorite. So I'll just say that up front. But the one thing that I have really softened on is that the success of those movies, whether we like it or not, has really kind of kept the torch burning for the entire Transformers franchise.
Absolutely. And I don't know, Mike, I want to ask too, are you a fan of Bumblebee? Because I loved Bumblebee, and that was not him.
I love that movie.
Okay,
I just watched it the other night, and it's a ton of fun.
Yes. I agree. Just the Cybertron part of it in the first 5 minutes is just like mind blowing. It's so good.
Do you guys know who directed that?
It wasn't Bay though, was it?
Travis Knight.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. No. So Michael Bay is a producer on that movie, so like he still gets a check on it. You know how Hollywood goes.
Yeah, he just owns I did Transformers. The director is a guy named
Travis Knight. He's a long-time Transformers fan, going all the way back to G1, just like us. But he also directed a movie called Kubo and the Two Strings.
I've seen that movie. Very good. Yeah, I saw that movie. That movie I really like that movie. Yeah. Okay, cool. I didn't know that. I'll have to see Bumblebee now because I haven't seen Bumblebee. But yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of connective tissue between those two movies in terms of like it being kind of like a coming of age story, and you can tell that he's a fan. because we were talking about Transformers the movie earlier, and like there's a scene in that 5-minute Cybertron scene at the beginning where like I'm getting choked up just thinking about it, but like there's this part where like Optimus Prime jumps up into the air, whips out his gun, and starts smoking fools. That's a still like explicitly from the 1986 movie, and it is one of my favorite things. We kind of in the fan community we kind of refer to it as the pose. Where it's like he pulls the rifle out, throws his shoulder back, kicks his knee up. It's a very iconic pose.
Yes.
But yeah, to have that in the live action Bumble movie was it's a good example of fan service done right.
Yes,
because a lot of this fan service stuff is just jacking off fans just for the fun of it. This was something that he threw in because he liked it, and he knew that folks like us would like it.
Or I saw Wheeljack for a second. I was like, "Fuck yeah!" Like just some odd Transformers that you wouldn't really expect to be in that 5 minutes.
And he looks like Wheeljack.
Yes,
all of the characters look like how they're supposed to look.
Yes. Absolutely.
That's cool. Where it's like things where like regular moviegoers are gonna be like, that doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah, but we were like, that is just that's right. That's right.
Cool.
That's exactly.
Yeah. And to me, that's fan service done right.
Yes.
Where it's like if it sails over the head of the normies and the civilians, but it hits us right in the face, then that's the way to do it, I think.
Yes.
Right.
If you're alienating regular folks, then that's a problem, I think.
Yeah, but that's where it was. I feel like they would still enjoy it. Like they they might not know what that was, but they didn't have a problem with it. Mike, I also want to ask you. We're getting low on time, but did you ever get a chance to interview David Wise? Because I had tried. I'm friends with him on Facebook, and he's one of the original Transformers writers. I think for Marvel, and he wrote the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and he also worked on Star Trek. And just finding that he passed a few weeks ago, or months.
Just a few weeks ago,
right?
A couple months ago, I think. Now at this point, R.I.P. No, I unfortunately I didn't have the opportunity to, but I saw him at TFCon LA last year, 2019, and so I saw him at the table. I shook his hand and said, "Thank you for all the cool stories," because he did some really iconic Generation 1 episodes, including War Dawn, which is like the origin of Optimus Prime and all of that. But yeah, I didn't get a chance to actually sit down and interview with him. But it does crack me up because like I do have another podcaster buddy, TFU.info, Transformers University, and he has a segment of his show called Wise to the Game. I don't know if you guys are into hardcore music, but there's a song called Wise to the Game. I don't remember the name of the artist off the top of my head, like 25 to Life, I think. But anyway, it says like, Wise to the Game. So he plays that every time he goes over a David Wise script and talks about how a lot of like the Transformers scripts that he used ended up as being Ninja Turtle episodes, and it's a lot of fun. But so I shared that with him with Mr. Wise as well, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to do that. But I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't get the chance to actually sit down with him, shove a microphone in his face, and kind of ask him to tell his stories.
Would have been great. I had messaged him and hit him up for an interview, and he never got back to me. And I believe that was when he was dealing with the cancer and all.
It's a real bummer. It's a real bummer.
It was one day before this show. I saw it on Facebook, and I didn't know. I saw the post about that he passed, and I was like, is this David just doing one of those pranks? I didn't know, but then I read more into it, and I was like, oh my god, this is the real deal.
Totally.
Yeah. Didn't mean to bring it down.
That's on a down note, but
but he still did some of the greatest work. Some of the greatest work in, like you said, like the G1 and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles universe, all of it.
Totally. So, real quick, one thing I wanted to mention before we part ways for now is, one of my favorite things about Transformers fandom is that, I've recently become part of like the fan community, I guess you would call it. It's like, being a podcaster and kind of networking with other podcasters, going to conventions, things like that, is, I've discovered that there are so many Transformers fans that look nothing like me. Meaning like it's like a lot of girls. It's a lot of young girls. It's a lot of gay girls. It's a lot of like folks that I would never think would be into Transformers.
Okay,
are
yeah,
like
never picked.
super into Transformers. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
It really blew me away just walking onto a convention floor, and I'm like, there's so many people that don't look like me. Now, granted, some of my best friends in the fandom look exactly like me.
Well, yeah, I picture the goatee, the heavy set, I do picture that kind of fan base. But yeah, to hear that kind of people, to hear that everybody enjoys the Transformers.
Yeah, I love it. It's one of those franchises that I think even after we're all gone and our kids are all gone, it'll continue and it'll be there for other people to enjoy, because these are just iconic characters and really cool stories.
Giant robots. I feel like it hits everybody. I feel like it hits everybody.
Who doesn't like giant robots that turn into cars and jets?
Yeah.
That's the shit.
And every now and then,
amazing
Gorilla.
concept. And Gorilla,
it's a great concept.
Cheetahs.
Even though, we were talking about the Bay movies, I remember Steven Spielberg was part of those, and I remember in the 80s during the G1, I remember they had a magazine, and there was an article about Steven Spielberg being such a fan of them that he had them in his office. Like, he just loved them. He was just intrigued by them. And it's just, it's an amazing thing. Even going on to, before that, just the fact that they were Diaclones, like when they were just Takara figures, with
they
little.
Were what?
They were called Diaclones before Hasbro. Hasbro, they stepped in and they merged with Takara, but Takara was the original company in Japan that made them, and they had little guys that would come with them, and it was still like Optimus Prime, but he would have
he would have a pilot, I guess.
Yes,
it would be
somebody
to pilot this. Gotcha.
Yes.
Teeny tiny magnetic figures. So if you have any of the G1 toys Optimus Prime, or even the Dinobots or the Insecticons, you'll see that they have these teeny tiny cockpits that don't really make any sense.
Yeah.
They were actually mechs for these little tiny magnet figures that you can drop into them through that Diaclone line.
Originally I was that's for Energon.
There were two different toy lines. One was Diaclone, like you mentioned, Rob, but the other one was called a Microchange. So, that's where you get, Soundwave and Megatron and Perceptor. And basically, if they were vehicles, they were Diaclone. But if they were things, like tape decks or guns or other everyday objects, they were Microchange.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
It's fascinating. There's a show on Netflix called The Toys That Made Us. Go watch that episode about the Transformers. It's very informative and very interesting. And I got a buddy, Anthony Bertali, who is a producer on that too. He's really proud of that.
Nice.
But yeah, no, it's a killer show. It'll give you everything you need to know about the history of Transformers.
Even just you mentioning the ones that were things, the original Soundwave cassette deck or whatever. He actually in Japan was a working Walkman.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. Wait, the working Walkman that could transform?
I would love to have a Soundwave, because Soundwave is my favorite character, but I would love to have a Microchange cassette man figure that's a working radio that I would use, because I would totally use that.
Yes, totally. Yeah, no, Mike, they're amazing. They're amazing figures, and we have to wrap this up, dude, but thank you so much. Yep. Thank you so much, as always. Where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook at Mike Seibert Radio, and the spelling on that is Seibert. And you can listen to my podcast, Mike Seibert Radio, on pretty much every podcasting platform you can think of, including where you listen to the Rob and Slim Show. I talk about stuff and things that are on my mind every week. I highlight independent artists doing interviews, and it's just a really great time. So I like making new friends. So if you want to talk about Transformers, or you got a Kickstarter or a comic book or an album or a music or whatever, hit me up. I'd love to make friends with you and listen to your story and help you promote your shit.
Awesome, brother. Stay safe. Stay Rona free, my friend.
You guys as well. Maintain that social distance. I see you guys.
Yeah. See you too, brother. Take care.
All right. Until next time, make good choices.
Till all are one.
There it is.